Welcome to Better Than Ever Live, wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. Hope you're making today your masterpiece. In today's show, we're going to talk about whole body vibration therapy, how it might be helpful for a really common cause of knee pain. We're going to talk about some other benefits of it too. We're also going to talk about some new health studies, why Americans can't seem to stick to an exercise routine, mental health benefits of music, heart benefits of chocolate, and how sleep predicts our risk preferences. I'm Dr. David Geier, double board certified orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and media medical expert. I help you feel and perform your best regardless of age, injury, or medical history. As I say all the time, please understand in today's live show, in any of my videos on social media or my website, I'm not giving you medical advice. This is just meant for information and educational purposes only. If you have any questions or comments, whether it's about whole body vibration or any of the studies we talk about, please leave those in the chat. Please remember, if you're on YouTube, I cannot see the comments. I'm using a service called Restream, so I can send it not just to YouTube, but also Facebook and LinkedIn. So leave those in the chat. And if you would, I'd love to know where you are. I'd love to know your first name instead of the little fancy, clever names people have. I'd love to know where you are and who you are, as well as whatever the comments are. Really excited to be here today. If you hear, and it hasn't started yet, but we're supposed to get a horrendous storm here in Charleston. I was lucky. I drove back from our Charlotte office today and left a little bit early so I could try to beat the storm, and it was raining really hard on the way, and I'm sure it is coming very soon. They're saying tornado risk and all like that. So if I get blown off the air, hopefully that isn't what happened, but you may hear it with my tin roof overhead. Mary from sunny California. It is not sunny today here in Charleston. It is very cloudy and rainy, but I love California. I love visiting. I love Northern California. I love parts of Southern California. Really excited to have you here. All right, let's start talking about some health studies, because I've got two things I want to talk about whole body vibration therapy, because I told a few people that that's what I was going to be talking about soon, and they wanted to know all about it. They didn't know what it was, so this is going to be fun. But before we get to that, I want to talk about a really depressing, not a study as much as it was a survey done. I talked about this earlier this week on TV. It was a poll conducted by OnePoll on behalf of Zoo Nutrition. They surveyed 2,000 Americans about their exercise routine. And the gist of the survey, even though there's some other interesting points, but the average person in the study, and hopefully this means the average American adult, has tried 5 different exercise routines over the past 2 years. Not they went to exercise 5 times, they tried maybe running, maybe lifting weights, maybe yoga, maybe CrossFit, maybe Orange Theory. They tried all this different stuff trying to find something that worked with them. Again, 2,000 adults, 1/3 of them said they struggled to find new exercise plans that they were happy about. 1 in 3 Americans basically said they aren't satisfied with how much exercise they get. Get this, 2,000 people, they said on average they exercise between 3 and 4 days a week. I call BS on that 100%. I don't think it's anywhere near that. There's a behavioral science term for this that I cannot think of off the top of my head, but where people filling out a survey or doing a poll basically lie to make themselves look good to the questioner. I think that's what's going on here. I don't believe for a second that the average American gets 3 to 4 days of exercise per week. Now, 30% say finding time to work out is a challenge, and that's true. We have tough time finding time to do anything. You know, if you want to do it, you find a way. But I believe that. But this is what I think is interesting, heading back into the 5 different types of exercise in 2 years. 70%, 7 out of 10 said they would be more likely to exercise if they found some type of exercise that works for them. So you keep trying something else until you find something that sticks. Because I do always say the best type of exercise is the type you'll actually do. And that's not the same for every person. So I get it. 27%, so just over a quarter, said that they gave up that particular exercise because they weren't getting the results they wanted. 65% said they would be willing to exercise more if they saw results faster. I want to talk about that in a second. 24% said they gave up, or they failed, an exercise routine failed because they didn't have enough information to do it properly, which surprises me a little bit in this day and age of YouTube. You know, we're doing a show on YouTube now. Literally, you can work up how to do anything on YouTube, so that surprises me a little bit. And 32% said they struggled finding something appropriate for their current level of fitness, which is why for a lot of people just starting out, I'm a big fan of working with a personal trainer, learn proper techniques, you know, learn what's good for your body type and maybe injuries you have and things like that. But back to the thing about quick results. I think this is a big deal. A huge percentage, as I just told you, said that they gave something up because they weren't getting the results they wanted fast enough. And there's 2 ways to look at this. And this is a little bit of behavioral science. If you've watched the show for a while, you know I'm fascinated with behavioral science. I've gotten accepted to the London School of Economics for a master's in behavioral science. I don't know if that's going to work out with everything else I'm doing, but I love it. So some of this is behavioral science, some of this is medical opinion. But what I would say about that is, 1, I'm a big fan of exercise for all kinds of health benefits, and it's great for a lot of reasons. It's, you know, for fitness levels, lower risk of mortality, lower risk of cardiovascular disease, lowers high blood pressure, all sorts of things. In some ways, it has better health benefits than weight loss does, especially as it pertains to mortality. We talked about that in a recent show. But here's the thing. If your goal with working out, if you're saying, all right, I want to see quick results because I want to lose X number of pounds, or I want to lose X% of body fat, that is a recipe for failure. 1, because that's going to be a very slow change. Fixing your diet is much, much more likely to help you lose weight and lose body fat than exercise is. Again, I like them both. It's not one or the other. You want to exercise and you want to diet to get your body composition better. But if your goal is to lose 5 pounds, that's tricky with exercise, because if you exercise a lot, you're going to put on muscle. You may not lose much body fat or lose much body weight at all. And so your goal of fitness, I would argue from a behavioral health standpoint, is some kind of goal that motivates you to keep doing more of it. So I like to tell people, let's just say you want, and this is probably a bigger conversation than it's worth today, but if you wanted to start running, you've never exercised, or you haven't exercised in 10 years, and your goal, if you're going to start a running program, in my opinion, would be some kind of distance or some kind of frequency goal, not weight loss or anything like that. So I might start you with, hey, I just want you to put your running shoes on today. That's it. If you do that, successful day. Next day, maybe walk to the end of your driveway. Day after that, maybe you walk around the block, and then you go 1/10 of a mile, and then 1/4 of a mile, and maybe not day after day. Then maybe that you mix it up a little bit, but you slowly work at it until you're up to 3 miles a day. Then maybe you walk 1/4 mile, jog 1/4 mile, and gradually add in jogging, and then get to where you can run 1 mile, and then 2 miles, and then 4 and 6. But making goals with a distance or something along those lines, something pertaining to exercise, I feel like is much, much more likely to have you stick to an exercise program than some body composition weight number measurement that is not likely to change all that much with exercise. If you remember that TV show, The Biggest Loser, and I know that in a lot of ways that was a little ridiculous, but they weren't just exercising. Yes, they were doing a lot of exercising, but a whole lot of that was diet. And it's one of the reasons I read this interesting study a few months ago that looked at all those Biggest Loser people later now, and a whole lot of them had put on weight since they were on the show, put on a lot of weight. But what was interesting is they were exercising a lot. So again, exercise really, really good for all kinds of health, but maybe not so great as a form of trying to lose weight. It's part of it, but it's only one part of the puzzle. Again, the key, in my opinion, find the type of exercise that's right for you. So I don't mind the trying 5 different types of exercise in 2 years, but the key is to at some point find something and stick to it. So Mary says, my husband's retired, gets up at 6 a.m., goes to the gym, works out 5 days a week, uses a trainer once every 6 to 8 months for a new routine. Yeah, that is tricky with the personal trainers, and I've done that years ago with a personal trainer. It was pretty expensive, but for people just starting out, it can be a good thing. That's another good thing. You know, use it to vary up your routine every so often. All right, another one. We know with exercise there are huge mental health benefits to exercise. Lower risk rates of depression, lower rates of anxiety, better mood, all sorts of different aspects to exercise. But if you're not doing well with exercise, not likely to exercise, there is new research that says something may be almost as good. And that something is music, whether it's listening to music, whether it's playing music, guitar, piano, whatever, or it's singing music, provides almost the same impact on your mental health as exercise does, or even weight loss. This was a study, it was actually a meta-analysis, 26 different studies, almost 800 people. And what they found is that both music and exercise kind of fell within the same range. There was no statistically significant difference in terms of mental health benefits. Exercise was better, but it wasn't better by all that much than music in terms of mental health related quality of life. Now, I would tell you this is not an either or. You can listen to music at the gym, you can sing music in the shower, you can sing in the car. Occasionally I see people at my gym that like to sing to music at the gym. They're listening to it on their headphones, but they somehow feel the need to make sure we can all hear them singing, which is a little pet peeve of mine. But music, all great. I would not say, again, that it's a substitute for exercise, because this is just mental health. We're not talking about physical health and everything else, but I'm a big fan and could be a form, especially depression, anxiety is one more thing to add to your mental health regimen. All right, I am not a big chocolate person. I never really have been. I like chocolate pies and things like that, but it doesn't move the needle. I like peanut butter a whole lot more. I don't know if you like a particular sweet, leave that in the chat. But there's a new study that shows that chocolate, and specifically cocoa extract, can actually, or it actually is associated with a lower risk of dying from heart disease. There was a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition this month. These researchers looked at 20,000 adults, 60 and older, following them for several years. And for some of the people, they supplemented their diets with cocoa extract. And what the researchers figured out is the older adults that got the cocoa extract supplement significantly less likely to die of cardiovascular disease. 27% reduction in cardiovascular disease death. Now, here is the caveat, and I've talked about some of the problems with nutrition studies. This is just one example. There's lots of potential problems with nutrition studies, but this study was funded by, probably no surprise if you watch the show, this study was funded by Mars Incorporated, which makes a lot of candy bars. Now, it's not to say that the results necessarily are wrong. I just would love to see a study that wasn't funded by a chocolate company. But it makes sense that cocoa is high in flavonols. We've talked about flavonols, antioxidants that are very, very good for your heart and lots of aspects of your health. But it's not just in cocoa. It's in berries, teas, grapes, some fruits and vegetables. Very, very important for your heart. I will tell you that if this is true, and if you're a chocolate fan, great. I'm not sure the benefits you're not gonna see that with a candy bar, like a milk chocolate candy bar. I would say dark chocolate, the higher the level of cacao, the better, and no added sugar would be kind of how I would do it. Not medical advice, I'm just saying if you're going to use chocolate to benefit your heart, that might be the healthier way to do it. All right, and then let's do one about sleep before we get to whole body vibration. There's a new study published in the journal Neuroimage. I think this is fascinating. You guys, I talk about my sleep all the time. I wear this Oura ring to track my sleep, and one of the things I like to follow is my deep sleep, which is what we're going to talk about here. These researchers found that and when they did these studies looking at everybody's individual sleep profiles and measuring the electrical activity of the brain during sleep, what they found, and these were Swiss researchers, I think it's Switzerland, University of Bern, they found that during deep sleep, the brain waves that people have during deep sleep in a specific part of the brain can actually tell you or tell them how much of a propensity you have for risk. And when we talk about risk, we're talking about all the risks that we take during our daily life. Do we speed in traffic or run, take a left in front of an oncoming car? Do we buy some stock that may be kind of risky? Do we have sexual relationships with people maybe spontaneously? I mean, there's all sorts of different ways people manifest risk, and it's different from one person to the next. You may be riskier than me and vice versa. But what they found is the fewer slow waves that you have in the right prefrontal cortex during deep sleep, the more likely you were to take risks in your everyday life. Now, the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that controls your impulses and whether or not you do things that you should or shouldn't do. And basically, slow waves, the more slow waves you have during deep sleep, that tells you it's good sleep quality, that's good good sleep regeneration. That's why the deep sleep score or part of the Oura ring, and there's other ways to track your deep sleep, other sleep monitors. Your deep sleep if you have a lot of deep sleep, if you're getting an hour and a half, 2 hours of deep sleep or more a night, you may not need as much total length of sleep. So that a lot of deep sleep is usually a pretty good sign that your body is recovering and resting and regenerating and all that kind of good stuff. But that is an interesting thing. It can kind of predict how much you tolerate risk. All right, and then the last thing I want to talk about before we get to the study on vibrating platforms and knee pain is some of the potential benefits of vibrating platforms generally, meaning there's a study that shows it might deliver some of the same benefits as exercise. So what we're talking about here, and it's interesting because when I said I'm talking about whole body vibration, people are like, what are you talking about? And my last two gyms before where I am now both had these whole body vibration modules. It's basically this machine with a platform, and that usually has handles, and you push a button on it and it vibrates, and you stand on it, and in a gym you do exercises. And I didn't see many people doing it very often, typically older adults doing dumbbell curls or maybe body weight squats. But you don't even have to do exercises on it. You can literally stand on it. They even make some that you can lie down on. And what it's doing is it delivers vibrations at a particular frequency. It depends on the machine, but somewhere between 10 and 40 hertz. And while that platform vibrates, it's stimulating your muscles and the muscle fibers to relax and contract and relax and contract, sometimes up to 60 times a second. And so it's making the exercise you're doing while standing on it more effective. But the reason it's gaining interest is that it provides a lot of the same benefits that exercise do. So for what you see at a Gold's Gym or a Pivotal, like the last two gyms I was, those were older people. And in theory, if you really struggle to exercise, you can't do high intensity or high impact exercise. Maybe you do, again, body weight squats or dumbbell curls or something, standing on one of these machines to get some of the benefits. But even in people in good shape, it might provide additional health benefits, such as better strength. It improves stability, overall body stability, core stability, improve muscle quality, improve bone quality, improve bone mineral density, even potentially communication between your muscles and your nervous systems. All in all, what this does, and this is where it gets really, hopefully, exciting as we get older, is that by making our muscles stronger, making our bones stronger, potentially we have less risk of falls, less risk of fractures, broken bones, and may prevent sarcopenia, that muscle wasting as we get older. So that is really an exciting thing. It's interesting, as before we get to the study on knee pain, I've been excited to potentially get a whole body vibration platform at home. They make them where they look just basically like scales that you weigh yourself on, but they're pretty expensive. Like the one that I was looking at was $1,500. Seems like an interesting idea, not ready to commit $1,500. So I get all these emails all the time from companies that want me to promote their products or do a video showing their products, things like that. If anybody makes a vibrating platform, vibration therapy, whole body vibration therapy, let me know. I would want to just use it, not so much to do exercises on it, but use it like I have a standing desk at work, just stand on it while I'm doing work. I think it'd be great to improve all those different aspects. But here's what I want to talk about. There was a study recently in BMC musculoskeletal disorders that looked at whole body vibration in a specific cause of knee pain called patellofemoral pain. This is an extremely, extremely common cause of knee pain. This is a randomized control study looking at whole body vibration for that problem. So we know knee pain is the most common joint that people come to see an orthopedic surgeon for sports injuries, extremely common in the general population. Patellofemoral pain, which is a very common form of knee pain. In fact, it's one of the most common causes of knee pain. About a quarter of adults get patellofemoral pain within the course of a year. When you get into adolescent athletes, it's about 29% get it in the course of a year, more common in women than men. I had this horribly in high school and college. Basically what this is pain underneath your kneecap. It tends to be felt all throughout the front of your knee, not related to a specific injury. Sometimes it's overuse, and yes, it is typically active people. Sometimes it's both knees. When I had it, it was both knees. Typically manifests as pain sitting with your knee bent for a long time. So if you're in a car, you're in a movie theater, sitting in class at a desk with your knee bent for a long period of time, that tends to hurt. Pain going up and down stairs typically is painful. Pain squatting or kneeling on it for a long period of time. And again, it's typically very active people. You don't have to be sedentary for it. Again, very, very common. Now, the treatment of that, fortunately, is not something that usually needs surgery. Usually, a home exercise program is enough to get better. That's how I got over it. I had a list of exercises, and I had to, once I finally committed to get better, I just did those exercises every single day. And after about 3 months or so, it was gone. I was like, wow, I haven't had that pain in a while. Now, 3 months sounds like a long time, but you have to remember I had that pain for about 3 years before I started doing those exercises because I was stubborn. I was like, oh, there's no way this helps, but it does work. Typically, it's strengthening the muscles around the knee, the quads and those types of muscles, but it's also muscles around your hip to take pressure off that kneecap, off that patella, seems to be how you get better. But this study wanted to see if adding whole body vibration training helped that pain go away a little bit faster. Again, studies have shown it's good for muscle strength, power, balance, flexibility even, studies say that, proprioception, which is a joint position sense, and even gait in the elderly. So again, this is standing on a platform, you're holding on to the handles a lot of times, but you don't have to. The authors of this study say you can even sit on a chair and just put your feet on that platform and let it vibrate. I haven't seen that, and I'd be a little skeptical of that. I would think the weight bearing would be a good thing. But anyway, this is what they did. What they wanted to see is if it reduced pain and improved function in people with patellofemoral pain, because if it works there, maybe it would work in a condition like knee arthritis. So they took people between 30 and 65 years old, and they basically had to have had this patellofemoral pain in the front of the knee for at least 12 weeks. Their pain had to be, they used this visual analog score, so they had to be at least 30 out of 100 on that. And they had to have pain with at least 2 of these things. Pain with sitting for a long period of time, pain with kneeling for a long period of time, pain with squatting, pain with running, pain with going up or downstairs. You had to have 2 of those. So what they did is they took half the people that fit those criteria, half of them did exercises for their hip, for their knee, and core strengthening their hip and their knee and their core strengthening 3 times a week for 4 weeks while they stood on this vibration platform doing it. The other group did those same exercises 3 times a week for 4 weeks, but not on a vibration platform. So there were no other variables. You did the exercises either way, but one of them did the exercises while standing on the platform. What they found out, a significantly big difference in terms of the pain and functional scores in people that did the exercises on a whole body vibration platform. There was absolutely no question, very statistically significant difference that 4 weeks of doing those exercises on a whole body vibration platform decreased that patellofemoral pain, decreased the pain intensity. It improved their functional abilities in that leg and was more effective than just exercise alone. So this to me is really interesting. Maybe, because I tend to send people that have had this for a long time, yes, I give them the home exercises, but say, hey, you may want to formally work with a physical therapist. There's no reason a physical therapy office couldn't get one of these and you do the exercises there. But also you could get the exercises. The exercises are pretty straightforward, and then go to a gym that has one of these machines and just do those exercises on it. And again, there are companies that sell these and you just put it at your desk wherever you work or put it at home and do those exercises. Again, even if you don't have patellofemoral pain, even though a quarter of people watching this probably will within the next year, there are all kinds of benefits of whole body vibration. So I am interested. I have not tried this. I've seen people do it at the gym, but I've not tried one of the home units, but I am very interested in it. All right, so that's all I've got. If you have comments about whole body vibration or any of the studies we talk about, leave those in the chat. If you'd like to read that study that I talked about, I think I posted it in the description below this video. If not, email me, I can send it to you. Always remember that if you're gonna miss this live show, Better Than Ever Live, Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You can listen to it while you're driving to work, while you're driving home from work, while you're at the gym, maybe doing whole body vibration therapy, but you can listen. You just can't comment if you're listening to it after the fact. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel, click the bell to be notified when I release a new video or when I start a new live stream. If you know people that like information on health and wellness, definitely send them over here. Here are the social media platforms. It's Dr. David Geier, DrDavidGeier on every social media platform. Also, if you have an orthopedic injury, tendon, ligament, muscle, cartilage, whatever it is, and you want to see somebody that really knows about sports and exercise injuries and athletes and active people, and you want maybe to get ideas for treatment that aren't just surgery, aren't just cortisone shots and physical therapy, I'd love to help. In the description below, there is a link to my website, drdavidgeier.com. Go to the contact page, fill out the form, and we can talk about potentially coming to see me in either Charleston, South Carolina. That's probably where it's going to be, sometimes in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I am every now and then, but I am happy to help. If not formally as a patient, we can talk about other ways potentially to work together. I really appreciate you joining. I will not be here the rest of the week. I've got some pretty cool things that I am doing and I will miss this show, but I look forward to being back next week, Tuesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Better Than Ever Live, next Friday for Ask Dr. Geier Live. Really hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your week, and I will see you very soon.